Hello, everybody. Welcome to another Round the Rotary with me, Monika Warren. Today we flip-flopped it, so I will be interviewing the special guest, the one you guys all know, J.P. Warren.
Hello out there. My name is J.P. Warren, the special guest of host, the special guest of Round the Rotary, whatever you want to call it today.
I liked it.
So this is our third or fourth time doing this, because it is kind of, before you start, it does kind of get kind of nerve-wracking a little bit, right?
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. So if you're putting all the dirty laundry out there, yes, this is the third take.
We don't have to put dirty laundry out there because we don't have to expose each other's secrets, all right? I'm just saying, it is working up to it. It is kind of, it's nerve-wracking. So
Yeah,
you're doing a great job,
It
and
was not easy.
You're doing a great job. We're 49 seconds in, and I have a good feeling about this. So why don't you just take us away?
So for those of you who haven't figured it out, we are married, and he likes to go by J.P. Warren, but sometimes you might hear me call him James. But the funny part is that's not actually his entire name. Go ahead and give us your full name.
My full name is James Patrick Charles Johnston Warren. I go by JP. That started in fourth grade by a teacher named Miss Farragher, and she pronounced the "gur" at the end. So that's kind of what I started taking off JP. I mean, it's been fine. It was a tough change. Fourth grade, got used to it in fifth grade. And after that, Scantrons at college were a piece of cake. JP, boom, boom.
Okay, but where is your middle name? Where does that start?
Charles.
So your first name is James Patrick.
Yes.
And then Charles Johnston.
Yes.
And then didn't you add a name in there too?
And the last name's Warren, which is your last name too. Yeah, so it was fourth grade, and I was born James Patrick Charles Warren. And you're saying, where's your middle name started? Like people are like, oh, that's not. Well, technically, it's like, first off, I didn't design my name, so I'm just saying what I've said.
No, but you added a name in there.
Well, yeah, it was my mom's maiden name, and so my mom kept her maiden name when she was married to my dad. And I was in fourth grade, and I was like, oh, I want Johnston in my name too. So it was like a big deal for me. Got in a suit, went to like the town hall, and I was like, I solemnly swear, I do declare that this name be entered into my full name. Whatever it was, and they're like, okay, like very professional kid. I was like, thank you. Where's my
That's kind of a cool gift though for your mom, I assume, because it's almost like you're getting a tattoo, right? Like those little heart tattoos that says like mom across.
Well, she gave me the biggest gift, and that's called life. So it's the least I could do is throw a name in there. All right.
Oh, Mama Jude's for the win. Okay. Well, do you remember her reaction when you changed it? Was she like super excited, or was it like
I don't remember what happened like 3 weeks ago, but I think she was excited. She's very proud of her name. And I think she was pumped about it.
And did your whole family do that? Like, did your sister do that too?
No, she already had Johnston.
She already had it?
Yes.
Did Trey have it too?
No. He was Joseph Donald Warren III, went by Trey.
Did he add that name in? Okay, gotcha.
No.
Man, so your sister already had it, and then you added it in.
That's it.
I love that story. Okay, so now that we know the origin of your name, thank you for that information.
So can I just do a little plug in here right now for our sponsors? That Around the Rotary podcast is brought to you by Capital Petroleum Consultants. CPC specializes in project engineering and well site supervision in all disciplines of the oil and gas industry. Contact us through See? Now let's start over. www.capitalpetroleumconsultants.com to see what CPC can do for you today.
That's a lot to say. Like,
that's why I don't memorize it.
But don't you get tired after saying all those words?
It's called talking. And I, being a human being, I'm used to it. It's 2021. I'm used to talking. So now it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, but you weren't even talking. You're reading.
Yeah. If I'm not reading, then how do we influence Evelyn to read? So yes. It's a great picture.
Way to bring Evelyn into it. Okay. So pretty much, how did you get started in oil and gas?
That's a very excellent question. So we're pretty much what we're doing. We're flipping the script. People have asked, how come someone doesn't interview you? Like, want to know about you. And I hate talking about myself a lot, but I got to give the people what they want. And so I thought,
I can't see this. I rolled.
What better person to interview me than the very talented, beautiful, amazing wife, even better bonus mom, Monika, and she knows me the best, so she'll be able to call out my bullshit or not. So I got started I grew up I was born in Houston. I grew up in Connecticut. I moved there when I was 8 years old. My dad was an accountant, and moved to a city outside of Westport, Connecticut. It was like a 45-minute train ride to the city. So my dad worked in the city. And I feel like if you grow up there, you call New York City the city, just so you sound like you know what you're talking about. Like you're
Right.
cool. It's like,
Right.
oh yeah, where do you summer? It's like,
At the
dude,
city.
yeah.
Yes.
So he was working. So college, I was not a good student. I was top 70th percentile, and when I got that, when I realized that, I thought that was a great thing. I'm like, oh my god, I beat out 70% of my class, and they're like, no, this is exactly why you're in the 70th percentile because you don't understand stats. That means 70% of class did better than you, and I said, okay, so I get it now. So. Didn't take it serious. SATs I bombed on twice. I got like 1,000, and I took it twice, and it was like my best scores. I think I was like cheating off this like 7th grade like genius kid. Yeah.
No.
So kidding, didn't cheat. So no, I'm trying to think. So anyway, so I didn't have a lot of college options. I applied to believe 3 schools, and I don't know. There's no order. I chose Texas A&M. Don't know why. I applied to LSU. And I applied to College of Charleston, I believe. And
Why LSU?
I have no idea. I think LSU had lower SAT scores for entry, and plus I'm like, yeah, it's a big school, and I was like, that's kind of the reason why. I mean, I grew up in Connecticut, so I really didn't know anything about like. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I don't think I knew what I wanted to do until about like a year ago. So. So I applied to, and I got into A&M on the provisional summer school program. And long story short, you had to take algebra, which is a beatdown. So took it. I got in A&M, and I was in the Corps of Cadets.
Thank you
protecting your freedom.
Saving us.
Well,
with your
freedom loving. So I did the Corps down there, and I didn't know, so I did marketing just because that had the most like the most. It wasn't the number, it wasn't the accounting. I got into the business school, so it was marketing. You had the girls in there, you know what I mean? I was like, it's kind of creative too, right. So I was like, I'll do that.
Yeah.
And I did marketing, graduated, had kind of no idea. I was working as an assistant manager at Express for women in College Station.
Man, love the ladies.
No, it wasn't so much. It was a good job. So I was like, okay, so I'll do this for a little bit. Okay, now it's confession time. I was dating someone at the time. I'm sorry.
What?
I know. You hear it first. I had a life before you. So anyway, so I just stuck around College Station while my ex-girlfriend was, my girlfriend at the time was still in school. And then after that, I went to France, got a master's because I kind of I like the idea of because I read this book called, what was it called? The Lexus and Olive Tree. And it was about like kind of globalization and all that stuff. I'm like, oh, wow, I'm going to get into that. I don't know what that means. I'm going to get into that. So I went to France, got
like the city.
This exactly. I want to get in on the global stuff. So, oh my God, like the world is smaller, but it's like big. So I did that, and after I graduated, I came back to Houston. My mom was living in Houston at the time. Parents are still together, but I think my dad got his PhD at A&M. So my class ring says 02, and his says 04. So yeah, so it's like I graduated before him, so it's like he's getting his PhD. It was like a 60-year-old male.
That's awesome.
And I'm like 21, 22. I'm like, hey man, you got to study. He's like, don't tell me. I'm like, you got to study. All right, I want you going out this weekend.
That's pretty cute.
So I got back and I couldn't find a job. And this is I feel like it was pre-LinkedIn, pre all this stuff, and I was literally living at my mom's house because my dad was teaching in Rutgers, I believe, at the time in New Jersey. And I'm sitting at the house and I'm applying. And this is during the time like Monster and like Career Builder and all that stuff. So I'm like sending the same resume over and over, just kind of like whatever. It got to a point. I think I applied to be I'm being serious. I applied to be like a crossing guard or like a substitute like bus driver. It's like after like 6 months, and then
that's impressive.
At the same time, I like applied to like. I don't know what.
Why did you apply for those kinds of jobs?
I was looking for. So I was bored. I was sitting at the house with my mommy. I'm 25 years old with a master's, sitting at the house with my mom. Like I got to do something. At this point, it was kind of like I'll just take something. Like I don't care what it is. Like even if it's like a joke or whatever like that. So I had no idea about the oil and gas industry. Like none.
Okay.
And like there was kind of I think I had like something. I just wasn't doing anything. Like I was just trying to find something to do, Right. And I remember calling this one. So I met up with a couple people. Like, hey, utilize the Aggie Network, because I went there. I'm like, yeah, I've heard about it. I've never really utilize this Aggie network. And I'm like, I'm in. I'm going to try. So I went to this like global telephone directory, and there was these, just pick people out. So I picked people out that graduated and that were in like the marketing and the advertising, kind of something related. And I picked, there was this a woman at a company. And for those avid listeners, you three of them out there, I'm sure you've heard this story before. But
I'm one of them.
You're one of them, so you've heard this story. But I remember I reached out to this woman. I was like, hey, look, I just want to introduce myself. I graduated in '02. It's like '05 at this point. I was like, hey, just, I love what your company does. It's very inspiring. Like, gosh, I just love the technique. I was using pretty much every buzzword out there. And I'm like, yeah, I'd just love to meet you for coffee and just kind of see if there's like, oh, hey, we have a job for you right here. Come on in. Yeah. And I was like, yeah, I really admire your company. And I think that Schlumberger is such an amazing company. That's where you laugh, because it's Schlumberger. And it's like, and there's like, pause for laughter. Okay. So that was a good laughter break. So no, I was like, yeah, thanks. I really do enjoy Schlumberger. And I hung up the phone. I was like, hey, so Dad just got off the phone. I think it's a good meeting coming up. He's like, oh, what company? I was like, Schlumberger. He's like, hey, son, you do realize that you just lived in France. You got back from, it's a French company, Schlumberger. I was like, holy, my dad from Beaumont. I was like, shit. Okay, well, there goes that. No, but I eventually, after 6 months looking for a job, I went to a staffing company, Murray Resource, whatever. And they were like, hey, look, we have an interview for you. It's an HR temp work. And I was like, yeah, I'll definitely do that. I don't care where it is. It's at Noble. They said Noble. And my old roommate in college, RJ Moses, was at Noble Energy at the time. And I was like, oh, dude, done. So I was like, this is going to be hilarious. You know what I mean? Because RJ was one of those guys like, oh, and I'm like, yeah, now we're working together, buddy boy. Best roommate. So I get up there and I go in the lobby and I'm like, hey, I'm here for the interview, with Joe Knight. Like, sorry, that person doesn't work here. And I'm, okay, well, I have an interview in HR. It's like a temporal and all that stuff. Like, sorry, I don't think you do. I'm like, it's at Noble. I think I said it was like a Noble Drilling. She goes, oh, okay. Well, this is Noble Energy. And this is when they were in Guns Point, Greens Point, and they were like, I'm like, well, where's Noble Drilling? They're like, Sugarland. So I had to drive from all the way down. Anyway, I got the job, and I did temp work at.
Well, wait, did you show up late? Were you extremely late?
I got like extremely early just because.
Smart.
Yeah, like, so I get there and whatever. Well, long story short, HR did that for a period of time. My old mentor, Carrick Payton, offered me a job in HSC. And if you want to have this a career podcast, and this is when when I was approached with something that I didn't know, you realize that Round the Rotary is a career podcast. We're listed under careers in Apple Music and Spotify. Anyway, no, I mean, I just didn't know what HSC was, but I knew that I liked the company, I liked the people that I worked with, and he's like, you want to do HSC? And I said, okay, well, what's HSC? And he's like, health, safety, environment. I go, okay, well, I know nothing about all that stuff, but yes, I'll do
Google
it. I'll do it. So now this is during the time of Ask Jeeves. This is pre-Google.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So,
okay. Wow, you're old.
Yeah, I know. I'm 27 years young. So, no, it's funny. It's like I'm 40 and I'm playing Xbox on a Saturday night last night after. Anyway, so that's a different one. So I didn't know what that was, but I mean, it just kind of sounded exciting, learning something new. And I just knew I liked the company. And I still really didn't know about the oil and gas industry. I knew that we were an offshore rig contractor, but that's about as much as I knew. I mean, you see the models of the rigs, in the lobby. So I said, yeah. So I said, sure, why not? And I knew nothing about it. And it sounded kind of boring because it was like going over the policies and procedures and updating, make sure to stay compliant with ISO, stuff like that.
That was you, not me.
That was pretty boring. So, I mean, so I did that for a while it got me a great opportunity to not only learn the company, because you're going over the company's policies and procedures, but you're also like you're talking to different divisions, and there's like 7 different divisions. Like there's one in West Africa, whatever. So it got me the opportunity to actually travel to these different international, I guess, offices and meet the people and start talking to people and start getting relationships.
Well, wait, so were you kind of like the middleman? Did you liaise between all these different people or no? Like, how did that work?
So what it was a great question. It was a corporate HSC department. It was a corporate HSC department, and then each I guess, division had their own HSE group. So yeah, it was kind of like an umbrella.
Okay.
So did that, and eventually, like, it got to a point where it's like I was enjoying. I had great experiences traveling, and it got to a point where I was like sitting there, and I'm like, well, what do I want? I don't know if I want to do this, for a long time. But there's always like a group of like 4 or like 6 older gentlemen at Noble Drilling. John Murphy, Chad Wilson was there, Kurt Hoffman, and Mike Nesmith. Like, these guys were like always wearing suits. Like, it was like Mad Men before anyone knew Mad Men. Like, they'd always walk in the halls. Like, they had like a martini lunch, like closed deals. I'm like, man, these guys are sharp. Like, they seem like they have a good time. It's like, that's like kind of like the marketing business side I want to get into. And so I started building a relationship with them. Like, during the time when I didn't have work, I would actually just voluntarily go by their offices and start meeting them and talking to them. And eventually I was like, hey, you guys, can I help out with anything? Like, I got a couple, I got time. I can always try to work with something, all that stuff. So they started kind of bringing me in, working on little projects, obviously with the approval of my manager at the time. And that was really enjoyable. And so they kind of sat down and we started talking about kind of how do I get into this group? And again, it was an older group. I'm like, I can do this. And we hit it off. And
awesome.
it came to, well, this is the point of Around the Rotary. It's about making connections, hearing stories, getting to know the person behind the position.
All right. Go back to talking about yourself.
So I know. So now I feel how the guests feel. It's kind of like, man, I'm pretty boring. But no, so we developed this thing, and it's like, hey, look, if you're going to sell, if you're going to start, having these, pretty much, if you're going to start selling these offshore rigs, then you're going to have to know what the hell they are.
Right.
I was like, all right, fine, that works. So they moved me to the Gulf of Mexico HSC, where I'd have more rig time, which I had to go offshore and learn the rigs. I was like, but when you're doing that, you're just kind of visiting. You know what I mean? You're really not. It's not hands-on equipment. You're not learning anything about it. I mean, I was reading the books. Like, oh, well, this is a monkey board. I'm like, what the hell's a monkey board? Oh, this is a donkey dick. What's a donkey dick? So it's like that's the actual thing. So
I can guess what that is.
You probably pretend and draw what it looks like too. It looks exactly like that. So we so was this. So I started doing that, but I wasn't learning enough. I wasn't, when I got to the rig, the people out there kind of closed off a little bit because I was the safety police, if you want to call it that, because I was still in HSC, or I was out there, going over an incident or whatever. Yeah. Anyway, I wasn't learning about the rig. So eventually I got into this program where every company has it. It was called the official title is the Operations Management Development Program.
I like it.
And the real thing is just fast track. I mean, it's pretty much you do 2 weeks offshore and you work the various positions, and then you work in the office for a week, and then you have a week off. And I did that for about just with the end goal to. So I started doing that. I mean, and it got to a point. I remember it was my 5-year anniversary at Noble, and I remember that during that hitch, one of the augers started spilling, and there was just like mud everywhere. And at the same time, a pulsation damper went out. It was just like, you're just cleaning up this oil-based mud everywhere. It's like, and you're looking up, there's like this cruise ship pass, and I'm like, well, that's their cruise ship. This is mine. I'm like, and so it's like you're doing that, and then like I think the same hitch, I actually got to pull a pipe back in the derrick, which was really exciting, challenging, exciting, scary, and fun. And I'm like, God, I can't believe it's. Not to sound like an asshole or anything like that, but I'm like, wow, here I am. I remember cleaning up the mud. It was like 3 a.m. It was like, here I am. It's like, and then after we got everything cleaned up, the same thing happened. So we did the same job over. It was like a 6-hour cleanup. Gosh. I remember I was thinking, I'm like, what the hell am I doing? Like, I'm here. I got a master's. I should be making business decisions and strategic decisions. And I was like, you know what? Hold up. Like, it kind of was a good check for myself. It's like, I'm doing a fast track program. You know what I mean? Like, I'm bitching, I'm missing my buddies in Houston partying, and I'm missing that stuff. It's like, who am I to bitch though? It's like, some of these guys, some of the best guys and girls I've met ever, are out there, and like,
some people like genuinely enjoy it though.
I did.
That's a good, yeah. I mean,
it's
I
really
can see
fun.
that now that you're talking about it. Like, I know a lot of people that like getting dirty and like their hands and just being involved.
Yeah, and it's the relationships you make out there. I mean, it turns into your family. You know what I mean? Like, you start like. It's fun. It's you work hard, but it's also like you have fun. You also play hard. But yeah, I mean, it was just kind of one of those reality checks. It's like, man, I know that I'm out here for another 3 to 5 years max. Some of these people are even retired out here. So it's like, who am I to bitch about, like, oh, I wish I was, at Pub Fiction tonight. Like, dude, just chill out. Like, learn to be out here. And honestly, and the biggest takeaway that I got from working offshore, wasn't the operational experience or anything like that. It was the ability to have conversations with people in the field, the people that are actually, putting boots on the ground and actually know what's going on out there. Because I remember before in HSC, if I called out there, I was scared shitless. Like, I'm like, hi, like, it's me, like, JP. Who? I don't have time. Like, I didn't know how to talk to these people. Like, I was very safe.
You?
Yeah, I was very safe. And being out there, I mean, you just start kind of building relationships and all this stuff. So just the exposure, and anyone out there listening right now, I think the opportunity to go in the field and learn something, and to not even learn something, just go out there and spend time and meet people and stuff, like, it opens up so much avenues of communication where you can banter with them, you know what's going on, and you establish these friendships. And that was the biggest takeaway for me. Well, so I'm doing this, and then April 20th happened. That was the Deepwater Horizon incident.
2 days before your birthday.
Well, everyone knows that April 22nd is my birthday out there.
Everybody knows.
April 22nd. April 22nd.
One more time.
22nd.
There you go. Thank you.
Well, anyway, so that was the Macondo incident happened, all this stuff. I remember there was a couple more hitches, and then our entire group got pulled back. I think there was about 7 of us in the fast track program. We all got pulled back on shore, and this is when, like, the entire industry was scrambling. You had the MMS, they'd switch over to BOEM or burning, whatever it was, and they were asking for all these, like, certificates of, like, COCs for any pressure control equipment from the rig floor all the way to the BOP. They weren't sure if they wanted original manufacturing. So it was like a lot of, like, chasing around to build these binders to defend and justify ourselves against this potential. I mean, again, it was probably a higher pay level than me to understand what was going on, but it was just, I felt like it was a lot of scrambling to get this documentation of our equipment to provide to this government agency or whatever to review. But then because they were like, oh, well, actually, we want this.
Are you trying to tell me you're a spy right now? Is this?
No, it's not.
You're doing secret spy stuff? What's going on?
What do you mean?
Like, the government was trying to get you to do stuff?
Not me. Like, so pretty much. No.
That was my first joke of the day.
Oh, okay. No, so double Agent Double O.
Y'all, he always tells me he's a spy.
So no. No, I don't.
Yes,
I'm very trustworthy. So I try to teach Evelyn spy tricks, but no. So I mean, it was just one of those things where I was doing that for about 6 to 8 months. It just got very like, man, what the hell are you guys asking? It was like, oh, we want this. Never mind, want this. So you're doing all this work, you're busting your ass till 7, 8 o'clock at night to submit a binder. The next thing you know, the next morning it's like, well, shot, we get this section out. Now we need this. So it just got very repetitive and very dull. And yeah, man, it just kind of threw everything off. It was a huge hiccup in the industry. It was a tragic event, to say the least. And that's when Scott Keller approached me about taking a role in Saudi Arabia. And this is the first. So I was at Noble Drilling for like 7 years or something like that, maybe 6, 7 years.
Wow. And
it was a tough conversation to leave. That was my family. I love the people there. We're actually having a couple of guys where we worked. It was in the Super Cube. All characters. We're gonna have those guys on in a couple of weeks. But so Scott asked me to go to Saudi Arabia to be to fulfill a role there, and it was drill pipe. And long story short, I went over there. It was supposed to be a 4-month assignment and turned to like a year.
Oh gosh.
I came back and they put me in sales. And so my title over there, and this sounds so important, and I get it. It was acting country manager of Saudi Arabia. And that sounds so...
Yeah, I love it. It sounds very up there.
Yeah, like, who's this cat? But, I mean, I had 3 people working under me.
Oh, what was that word that we learned? Orchidaceous. It sounds very orchidaceous.
So orchidaceous. So, like, but the best part was I only had, like, three or four people under me. So it wasn't, like, that big a role, but it doesn't matter. It sounds big. So after that, I mean, they put me in sales, and I was at sales at Archer for about 6 months, then went over to Pinergy. I spent 7.5 years with Pinergy, and that family loved those guys. I had the best mentor, and that's one of the best... To me, that's one of the best environments I've been around culturally wise. It's just, it was Randy Taylor was dad on, his 2 sons, and Wade West. Like, it was just a good group of people. And having that decision to leave Pinergy to come over to CPC was probably one of the most difficult professional conversations I've ever had to have.
Right.
Because I love those people and the respect and the amount of laughs and just I just Bubba Smith. I mean that was my boss. Yeah. So I just it was it was pretty. It was emotional breaking up with him pretty much. And then I mean I just so I've known Chris Zombrecker and Terrell Clark, the two managing partners here, for about like 6 or 7 years, and we all became kind of very tight. Terrell and I became best friends, and Chris and I became very tight, and it was just
second best friend.
Male friend. How about that? And so it just kind of one of those things. It was kind of turned. It was a very organic, gradual thing, and it was
You've been blessed in the work department.
Oh,
that's
absolutely.
For sure.
I mean, it was one of those things where it's like so they've been in business for about 5 years, and they have many more years of experience before this, but CPC, and they brought me on to kind of grow and expand the company. And I was brought on in October 2019. We had about 400 followers on LinkedIn. The content was very, I can get into this marketing side of things just because this is a career podcast. So, I mean, the content I think was being outsourced, and it was very dull and dry. So we just started kind of like, and then I think COVID accelerated the ability to push the envelope, to go against the traditional. I've never marketed before. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, I can touch up a picture and post it on Instagram, but I've never really done marketing before. And so it was just one of those things. We just started trying new stuff out. We did, something as a joke. You were there. You were actually filming the first Roughneck Jerry.
Yeah.
And we're doing skits, and we're doing like just stuff to bring.
Just so everyone understands, JP is probably. I don't want to say anything.
Nicest,
I don't want to say anything bad. I almost said something bad, but JP is just not the nicest.
Time out. This is uncut. Go back. What were you gonna say? Let's bring it real here. This is real talk.
Yeah. He's a tough cookie, man. When we go into film mode, when we're doing the Roughneck Jerry or any of the commercial, any of those kinds of shoots. Oh my gosh, JP you are just the worst.
Can we use the word intense instead of the worst?
I don't know. It's like I gotta mentally prepare myself to know what's gonna happen.
Well, you get it. Evelyn gets it.
Decompress after.
Well, I get it though because I have an idea. You know what I mean? Like I have an idea. And I'm like, okay, I want you to come in, and you're like, well, what if I just film it? I'm like, no. I need you to. Okay, I mean, what if I just kind of just hang out here? Why do I have to film? Just
what about do something?
Oh my
gosh!
I have so many impressions of you. There's that one. There's okay, JP. I guess I'll go do that. There's that one. Oh my God! Like, how come you never say good morning nicely? Like, there's that. Yeah, there's a lot of them. There's a lot. Like, good morning. Oh, fine, you're just gonna be this way. Fine, go back to bed. So there's a lot of different characters depending on the mood. But yeah, I get very intense because I have vision, and I kind of just, hey, let's just.
But it makes me giggle because at the end of it, you always say directed by Monika Warren. And then I want to sit there and be like, I guess not really.
What do you want to do? Write you off the script? Produced, written, starred, directed by JP Warren? No. You got to give some credit.
Camera holding done by Monika.
Camera holding, punching bag, and getting yelled at done by Monika Warren. No, but you're such a champ of that. Like, because you do get my humor. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You do allow, I guess, the skits and all the content we put out to reach that level because eventually you do trust me.
Some would say I love you.
Well, you do. I love you too, but you do begin to trust me and trust the process. Okay. So that's a little takeaway for you.
All about trust.
Just trust me. But yeah. So I mean, it's been fun. It's been a great time, and it's like it's one of those things where it's a small group, but it's fun because you're working with your friends, but it's also you're working with your friends that actually know what the hell they're doing. You know what I mean? So it's not like and it's been team. Yeah, it's been fun to kind of like push the boundaries when it comes to the content we put out, or come up with new different ways to try to get just views, traffic, whatever.
So this is a good segue right now to go into the podcast and your meme page and everything that you've started to create. But before we do that, I just wanted to really quick point out the whole Schlumberger comment.
Okay.
It's not that I'm not listening to you when you're talking, right? Like I was listening. The problem is that I just assumed like that was the way that you call it, like how you call log, L log, like one of those types of.
You know what's amazing? It's we spoke about the Schlumberger comment literally like 23 minutes ago, and you're like,
You're too busy talking about
I
yourself.
just think it's funny how you bring that up. We covered so much since then. You know what I mean? Like I discussed my personal struggles, like I have my master's. What am I doing out here? And like, oh, I took this challenge because it was something new, something exciting. I said yes. No, I strove to be this, and yet that's what I love it. I dig it. That's what I love about you. Actually, let me tell the listeners this: the first rig I worked on, and before you chime in, she says it's log, I call it L log. But the rig that I was working on was the Noble Ors Boozegard, and the operator of that rig was L log. And my father-in-law worked at
Daddy.
I call him Daddy.
You do.
So I'll go visit. So I went to go visit. So let me. So he actually is a L log
Log.
employee, and I think it's funny. The rig that I was working on, my father-in-law
Daddy.
has that's the operator. But it's funny. I used to go visit your dad at the office, and every time like he like walk me out, you know what I mean? I used to call him, I was like, all right, Daddy, like, great seeing you. I love you, Daddy. And like, there's all these people in the lobby, and like, he's like, just call me Scott. And I was like, no, Daddy, come here. Give me a hug, Daddy. He's like, all right, just get out of here. And he's like, that's my son-in-law. That's my son-in-law.
He loves you so much, too.
So,
that's awesome.
No, so I mean, it's been a good time. So what's the segue besides bringing up something that happened 3 weeks ago?
Oh, whatever. So, okay, so you started working for CPC. You're now working with your best friends. You've got this great new adventure to go down. So how did you start to create the podcast? When did you create it? And tell us about where it's going, because you kind of segued from the podcast also into like this meme page.
Yeah.
Like you're just.
I don't know. Content is king in the influence. No, I'm joking.
I thought you were gonna say excellent question, Monica.
That is an excellent question,
Thanks,
Monica.
I wrote it down.
And I gave it to you before. I'm joking. I'm joking. These are all Monica's questions. These are all conversations. So anyway, whenever on the Rotary, the guest is JP, and the interviewer is also JP with the voice of Monica.
Yes.
No, so this was so I think last casino night was 2020. In January 2020, Chris runs into Justin Gauthier, the sexy beard dude with OGGN AES Drilling Fluids, and he runs a very successful podcast. And he's like, "Hey man, I love your stuff. I love listening to it." And he's like, "Man, let's just tag up. I'd love to get you on." And we met up in February, I think the beginning of February, almost a year ago, probably a year ago, at Starbucks. And he's just so positive. He's like, "Oh my god, like." Everyone has their own styles. Like, go for it, man. Totally. Like, you can do it. Like, he's such a motivator.
I love
like,
that.
yeah, like if you're having a bad day, just give him a call and just, hey, man, just talk to me for like 3 minutes. And like, he'll just like get you through it. And like, so it was a great conversation, great meet. And I think that was the first time I actually met him and sat down with him. And he got up and left. And Chris looks at me. He's like, well, it looks like you're going to be doing a podcast. I was
Oh,
like,
how cool.
Oh, shit. So
That's awesome.
well, that really, I mean, so that was the beginning of February. We didn't do the first podcast until April. And during that time, and another thing we started doing here, we started hosting dinners at the office. So we've been doing like, you got to think differently. How do you get customers? And that's a segue. Anyway, I'm going to focus. So I'm going to talk about the podcast. So, it started where like it was kind of one of those things. I started researching on what equipment. This is during lockdown. You couldn't really see people. Like, maybe
because COVID had happened.
Yeah, COVID happened.
Wait, so were the steak nights happening before?
Yeah, they were happening before. Yeah.
Oh man, should have gone into that first.
Yeah, no, we're fine because it ties in everything. So yeah, so I mean, it was one of those things that I started researching and it got to a point where I think anyone out there who's curious about doing a podcast, go for it. I mean, I think it's funny. It's like. I think everything in this world is like it has to be competition, and it doesn't. So people are like, "Oh man, it's a competing podcast." I'm like, it's not competing.
Maybe, but it can become so oversaturated to where it's no longer.
No, I completely get that, and I'm fortunate that I feel like I started this when COVID first hit, because I think like like around like 3 or 4 months into COVID, I think there was a lot of new content being put out there, a lot of new podcasts, and a lot of new everything. And yeah, we just started this. And when I started off, I'm not a technical guy. I'm not a market forecast guy. I'm not a, well, this pop proponent down 3,000 feet below can just propel everything. I don't know. There's like all this
The
like
voice reminded me of the.
I mean, there's all these different podcasts out there, and so I just thought like, man, what am I good at? I'm good at banter and bullshit. So I was like, let's.
Couldn't agree more.
We will talk after the end. So anyway, so I was like, okay, well, that's what I'm good at. That's my strength. So why don't? And I know that, and that's the thing. Our industry is filled with so many cool, great people. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I've had such good conversations, either sitting across the table with them, on the tee box, on the phone, out at a dinner, like in their like. I've had such great conversations. I'm like, oh my god, if people only knew how great this or their story or something like that. And because we're stereotyped in this industry, where it's either the engineer, it's the oilfield sales guy, or it's the guy throwing chain on locate. It's just like we're
Landman.
and the landman. Land people. No, so it's like there's so many different characters and stories, and so I'm like, what I'm sure there is other stuff out there that's like this, but I feel like it's nothing that I've done or heard. And I'm not saying this is a new thing, it's not, but I just think so anyway, so it started off and I had like a list of 5 or 6 questions, and Mike Tessera was the first guest to come on.
Yeah.
So he's the first one to come on, and I literally for the first like 12 or 13 episodes, it was the same questions. It was the same 5 or 6 questions. And don't get me wrong, I was getting some great feedback back, but here's the thing, I wasn't interested in it. I was like, this is boring. So I just started kind of changing it up. So I would have 2 standard questions and then just peel off into whatever. And I think through time, I think after, as Justin told me, after 25, 30 episodes, you're going to kind of start getting more comfortable. I'm not saying find your groove, but I'm saying get more comfortable. And it's just been fun. I mean, the experience has been great. The support's been great. I'm enjoying it just because, you hear these people chime in like, oh my God, I didn't know, I didn't know, Kate went to Montana Tech, like, oh, like we love Kate.
We love you, Kate.
I didn't know she went to Montana Tech. I went there, so they have a point of connection. Oh my God, like I didn't know that this guy loved, bobcats. I love pretending to be a bobcat. I'm going to talk to this person. You know what I mean? Like the connections that it's made has been great. I had this other gentleman reach out to me and he's like, hey, look, I actually have to come on your podcast. I think I got some work. Like I've had some offers like come in. This other person, he said he submitted his resume somewhere, and then like after the podcast was just dropped, and they called him. They said, hey, look, we actually just heard we feel like we know you. So it's kind of cool. I mean, there's all these like different reasons why it's cool. Another great thing of it is like we're bringing the personality out, and if someone that if we can be good stewards and tell our story in different ways, versus like, oh, you need oil, like it's going to be so much more beneficial for us as an industry, and hopefully reduce that narrative against it. But it's just been a good time, and it's just kind of, I don't know where it's going to go. I don't. People talk about monetizing it, this and that. I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. Like right. I'm not there. Honestly.
I think you grow it.
Yeah, well, yeah, and even after I grow it, what's the point? I mean, it's just fun doing. It's enjoyable sitting across the table and meeting people that I don't know and striking up a conversation.
That's so awesome.
And it's just, and honestly, like, even these days before I do one, I don't do any prep work. I used to. I don't do any prep work now, because if I do prep work, then it's like, okay, I need to get to this question or this point. Now, if there's cool parts about your life, yeah, I'm gonna get into that, but like the prep work is not there because
you want it to be natural, organic.
The genuinity isn't gonna I make up words a lot. It won't be genuine, and I don't know where it's gonna go. I'm not concerned about this or that. Like honestly, if 3 people love it, great. If 3,000 people love it, great. Like it's just fun.
I guess outside perspective looking in on you, I feel like you are the anomaly, and I feel like a lot of people. There's nothing wrong with how people handled COVID, but for example, you took an opportunity and you you started creating. So you were like, okay, fine. I'm going to be safe. I'm going to have maybe 2-3 people who I know, like, you were extremely, like, first, like, mask, washing hands constantly, but you would invite them over for steak nights, and you were still finding ways to connect, right? You were utilizing your sales, what you've learned in marketing and all that stuff. But then not only that, then what you were doing is when lockdown really got serious, like, it got crazy.
Right.
And now it's not like you can go do cold calls anymore. Like, that's a scary thing. But you were like, okay, well, I'm doing this podcast. Thank you, Chris Onbreaker, for saying it to him. But my goodness, you really took this opportunity and ran with it.
Well, it's I don't think it's anything that I've done per se, but it was just one of those things. It's like, you okay.
I went inward. I played video games the whole time.
How many times did you beat Witcher 3?
3? Maybe 3? Was that 2?
I think it was 3.
3.
Yeah, because you beat it one, then you did the side quest.
And then I beat Zelda twice.
Yeah, I'm not a Zelda guy though. No, but I mean, here's the deal. Like,
I like games.
So I know you like games. Just quit with the games. I'm sorry, we're still recording. So
video.
So it's one of those things where it's like certain people react differently. You are okay with being at the house.
Introvert.
You are. You like it. Me,
total introvert.
I charge up, like, interacting with people. I love being around people. I love talking to people. I love engaging with people. I love just.
How are we so well matched?
2 steps forward, 2 steps back. We come together.
The wise words
of Paula Abdul. His opposites attract. No, so it was just one of those things where it's like, okay, well, man, I'm missing my friends. I'm missing this. I'm missing that. I kind of feel like and I'm not taking credit, but I didn't hear about it until we did it. But like when we were doing those triple dinner dates with the Vosses and the Olsons and Z and Terrell, like, I didn't see anyone doing that before. And then the virtual happy hour started. I didn't see anyone do it. Like, I kind of felt like we were kind of forefront just because it's like, okay, well, how do we stay? First off, it's not just staying in front of customers. I didn't view it that way. I was like, how do we just keep connecting with people?
But did you just say that you feel like you're the pioneer for starting this? Like, people, once you started doing the virtual happy hours and it caught on after you
I'm not saying it happened because of me. I believe it. No, I believe that there's like groupthink out there. If someone comes with a good idea, chances are it's already happened.
Okay, I believe that too.
I just never saw it before until like we did. I was like, oh shit, wow, they did it too.
I just wanted to make sure that this wasn't an ego.
No, it's no. I'm being very. It's not ego. To me, it was just like, man, like how do I just remain like, because look, all the drilling rigs were being like laid down. Everything it was a shit show. It was a dumpster fire. But at the same time, I was like, man, I still kind of miss my friends. I still kind of miss talking to them. So it's like,
you can only handle me for so long.
Yeah, I know, and we're coming up on 42 minutes. But it's like, but I could like, it was one of those things where it's like, how do we stay real? I mean, how do we continue to reach out to our communities? Like, how do we continue to keep our friendship and our relationships there? And it was whether it was Zoom happy hours, whether it was podcasts, or just honestly, Ty and Taylor called me. We were doing he was doing wellness checks, and I was doing walk and talks, where you just get on your phone and walk. It was just something like, I have nothing to talk to you about. You're not gonna get a rig anytime soon. I'm just calling to see how you doing. Like what's going on in this world.
That's how it should be.
Yeah. So it's
especially in sales, you make relationships and real friendships.
Yeah, and that's what I love about our industry, and it's been so that's kind of how the reason the whole podcast and all this other stuff started, and this other stuff, the memes and that stuff just started just because, number one, it's fun. Number two, if you can make people laugh in a time like this.
You're so good at it. It's so funny.
Well, I'm glad you think so. I think I'll make some pretty good meme bangers.
Well, I like my stuff.
Well, no, I mean, the only reason you think I like it so much is because I show you every single time, every meme.
But it's always really good.
Babe, stop, look at this. Babe, what? Like, the fact that I'm 40 years old having to tell my wife, hey, babe, stop and look at my meme that I made. Like, when am I, 12? But, no, I mean, at the same time, if you make people laugh and kind of poke fun at kind of what's going on and yourself and other, I mean, like.
And it's very entertaining.
You just got to have fun with it. Yeah, I mean, you don't always have to bring like, Biden's going to do this to my country. So you don't always have to bring that in. Like, if you can bring a smile across someone's face or someone just have some laughter and banter, let's do it.
Life is so serious already.
So like I think this is gonna be a release, but I'm gonna start. I got on Clubhouse. I'm gonna start these satire comedic bullshit chat rooms. And the first one coming up is on Wednesday, and it's going to pretty much be that the Terminators were fueled by renewable energy. Okay, these power cells. The Resistance, John Connor, the Resistance. You know what fueled them? Fossil fuels. So let's talk about this. Let's talk about
on Wednesday.
This is gonna be released on Thursday.
Oh.
But no, I kind of want to start doing this. Like have different rooms of like just like ridiculous, funny conversations pertaining to our industry.
If you have a horror story or a video game one, can I get on those?
We're gonna do that with Stephen Forrester. Him and
yes,
his brother. Yeah.
Stephen Forster.
Yeah, but we have to actually have like weekends where we actually sit down and watch those slasher movies.
Yeah.
Which is fine.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, and that's the thing. I mean, you see this, you see people kind of getting out of their shells. These companies allowing people to start posting stuff and kind of getting out of their shells, and I guess kind of trust their employees to generate whether it's views or discussions or clicks.
Right.
And I think you're seeing that, and I think that you have to adapt. I mean, you do have to adapt during times like this, and that is engaging with people. And no, just because it's not super serious, button up tie, no one's wearing a tie these days. No one puts on pants on these days, pretty much. So it's like connect with your audience in different ways. Like
I hope you're wearing your pants.
No, I'm talking about like work pants, work travel
Okay.
pants. So it's no. So I mean, it's to me it's you're seeing all this new stuff come up, and I love it. I dig it.
Okay, good. So I want to ask my last question because we've been talking long enough.
Like in general, like in life? Is that it?
So Valentine's Day is coming up.
Valentine's Day is coming up.
Any advice for any of those guys out there looking to buy something for their ladies or get?
Man, I don't know about buying.
James, what are you getting me for Valentine's Day?
I'm getting you.
What's a good?
I'm getting you me away from the phone, quality time on the couch. I'm speaking your love language, girl.
Pantless.
Apparently. No. There's a no pant rule on the couch. The floor is lava and no pants. Look, I don't know. I mean, relationships are also different. But I would say this. I would say put your phone down. All right. I'm talking to you too, Monica.
Okay.
You don't have it on right now, but I'm saying put your phone down when you're spending time with that person. Okay.
Okay.
Don't go out to eat. Well, actually, I would order from those restaurants.
Okay.
I just hate going out to eat on Valentine's.
Sure.
But I would definitely support restaurants.
Okay.
What else? I mean, buying gifts. I mean, times are tough right now. So if you don't feel inclined to buy something, make something. Make one of those little like bracelets that are just out of paper clips.
I can see you printing a picture of yourself, a goofy picture of yourself from like go to CVS and print it out, and getting one of those heart-shaped.
Honey, this is sponsored by Walgreens. You can't say CVS. Get a locket for you?
Yes.
I would totally do a locket.
That's a good idea.
Well,
that I just gave you.
That kind of reminds
That's
me.
my advice.
Then I'll do that. That reminds me of the pants that I got you 2 Christmases ago.
Oh gosh, actually, I have worn them a couple times.
So I got her a pair of pants with just pictures of my face all over it. So when she goes to the gym or work out, people know that she's spoken for.
That got mine.
Ma'am.
Ma'am.
But yeah, I mean that's kind of it. I don't know. Just be present. Don't talk about.
And be nice.
Yeah, I know that. Okay.
Say good morning.
Good morning. All right.
Perfect. That's all I gotta do.
Well, you had one thing to bring up, and it was.
Schlumberger.
No. It was the advice.
Okay, what is your advice?
It wasn't. Yeah, but you phrased it a little bit better. I forgot how you phrased it. It wasn't advice though, but you said, what would you communicate out there to I think like people, whatever.
Yeah, to spice it up to make it a nice one.
Well, I would say the advice that I have right now, if you are talking about whether it's content or putting yourself out there, or even just the ability to reach out to expand your network. Like if you're sitting there and you're looking for your next role, if you're sitting there and you're trying to develop some sort of content that you're trying to generate views, or people looking at your product, or people looking at your service, or whatever that is, I truly think it's like just being like, be genuine and just be yourself, and just don't be afraid to try something. Donnie Davis with Striker Directional, he just did a post, and it has nothing to do with his company, him, or anything like that. He's posting to get someone to look at Keith Stelter out in Midland, who's been crushing it on LinkedIn, and he's like, hey, look, we're doing a giveaway if you connect with this guy
That's
who's
awesome.
looking for. Yeah, it's just like it doesn't have to be. Just be yourself, be genuine, and don't be afraid to reach out to people. And just, I mean, I've had so many coffees with people, and I have never met them, and it's just coffee, and there's nothing like, oh yeah, maybe we'll do this. And it's just meeting people and talking, and I think that's so valuable these days. You never know how small the circles are, and how you can help someone out, they can help you out.
Okay, real quick. I swear this is the last
I don't
question.
care. We got time. It's kind of short. Yeah. What?
We got Evelyn locked out in the car. With the windows up.
Well, it
So-
is 89 degrees outside, and the car's off, so she'll be fine.
She'll be fine.
She'll be fine. JK.
Just kidding. That was a major joke.
JP.
Sorry.
How
So-
dare you? I heard all that. I know.
Oh gosh, please. So, I want to know quickly, what is your favorite and your worst story about oil and gas? Like something that's happened to you, best and worst. Go.
Well, the worst is OPEC Plus putting on spigots whenever they feel like driving the price down. No, I think one of the best stories is honestly just working. It's been, I don't know, like
Gosh.
I think one funny story about working offshore to wrap this up is I remember it was hot and just like I was roughnecking at the time, and I think we were just pushing pipe back. We were coming out of the hole, pushing pipe back in the derrick, and I'm looking at my buddy, and I had two guys that I was worked with, three, but these two guys were pretty close, Jonathan Moody and Dane Plumley, and Dane was one of the nicest guys. Like I remember there was like these cotter pins all over the rig floor, and it's like stuck to the drill pipe, and I'm like, so that's how the drill pipe stays together with that little cotter pin? He's like, oh no, man, it screws on, and mind you, I've been out there for like I don't know, like a year at that point. I'm like, yeah, I know, obviously. I'm like, so you take the escalators up to the monkey? He's like, escalator? Oh no, man, that's called the elevators. I'm like, oh, it's just like messing with him. Yeah, I remember one time, so it was like hot, and I was like, hey, watch this. Took some water, and as we're pushing it back, I kind of like threw up. I didn't throw up, I just spit it out. And the driller was so like cautious about me because I was the corporate boy, you know what I mean? Like, no, don't miss. He's like, JP, get inside right now. So we get inside, and he's like, what's going on? I was like, oh man, like, sorry. He's like, sit down. And he was like, cool.
Off AC.
I sat there, my feet are kicked up, and I was hanging out and watching. But he's like looking at me like, what the hell are you doing? So I'm just kind of looking at it. About 10 minutes later, I was like, hey, Dale, you know that I was just joking around. He's like, what do you mean? I was like, it was just water. What the hell? I was like, yeah, Moody put me up to it. He's like, no, get your ass in here. Brought Moody in there, and he was like, what did I do? I was like, he told me to do that. I thought you said that'd be funny. It's just like just messing with him.
Yeah.
So he had to like wipe down the drawworks after that.
Oh my gosh.
And then bless Moody. I mean, he was working. It was at night, and he was up in the derrick, and it was foggy out. And again, I mean, he's just up in the derrick, and I was like, hey, is it Moody up there? To the driller, and he's like, yeah, why? And I think the assistant rig manager was in there and all that stuff. I go, well, Moody he's scared of fog, like terrified of fog. And they're like, what? I'm like, yeah, he's like, he thinks there's like ghosts and goblins in the fog.
Poor Moody.
Yeah, and so I think they called him down, and he comes in, and they told him like, hey man, like, you okay? You scared? He's like, no man, I've been up there. He's like, no, he's scared of the fog. And his eyes were like, what the what's going on?
You constantly placing blame on others, man.
Just having fun, just messing with people. Yeah, that was there's all these other stories, but yeah, I mean, it was always fun out there, just kind of messing with your friends, messing with messing with your buddies out there. That's it. They messed with me too.
Okay, good.
Yeah, they did. So.
Do you have any bad story or one bad story? Anything that was like a total negative takeaway?
No, I saw some dude get his 3 of his fingers chopped off when he had to go
no.
find his fingers. yeah.
Like you had to search for them?
Yeah.
Did you find them?
I found 2.
So he's missing one.
I think someone found the 3rd. I don't know. I know. Yeah. So anyway, that's never fun when someone gets hurt. But yeah, he just like put his hand back in his pocket, finished the job, finished like tailing it in. I was like, okay, man.
What?
Yeah.
That's a real hero.
There's some tough boys and girls.
Holy moly.
That's right. So.
Oh, this has been fun.
This has been fun.
Thanks, honey.
Well, thank you for everyone tuning in.
Thanks, everybody. I'm gonna let you do the outro.
Okay, well, everyone, again, I want to thank. Will I go to host mode?
Yes.
Go to host mode.
It's like automatic.
Well, first off, I always have fun speaking to my beautiful and by the way, you might, if this is the first time tuning in, the intro and outro is done by my amazingly talented, beautiful wife, Monika Warren.
Did you forget my
No,
name?
I was saying Monica Lee Warren.
I was gonna say Monika Lee Warren.
Okay. So, no, I had fun. I mean, this is, I think, long overdue. I'm glad we got you on here and kind of flipped the script. Thank you for taking your time for doing this, Monica. And
thanks, James Patrick Charles
welcome.
Johnston Warren.
And thank you, everyone, for tuning in to Round the Rotary in this special. I hope you had fun with this, and I don't care if you learned something. I just hope you enjoyed it. I hope it kind of passed the time and you enjoyed it. So,
and happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day, all, and just keep being lots of love. All right, y'all. All right, thanks for tuning in, and we'll talk to you soon. Thank you, Monica.
Thank you.